My name is Hussein Abu Hamida. I'm 35 years old. I am a Palestinian refugee from Syria. I was born and raised in Aleppo. I am the eldest son for my family. My parents, they are doctors and they worked in Syria until we left. When the Arab Spring started in Tunisia in 2010, you could feel that tension building up when the Arab Spring was moving from one country to another. And there were like some whispers about what if this happened? What if that happened? Maybe it will also start in Syria. Can we make a difference? Things happened, small gatherings, small protests here and there in Homs and in Damascus, the capital, Dimashq, in February. But in Daraa, there was like a big protest because of something big happened. Some phrases written on a school schoolyard wall, and then they were like something like against the regime or challenging the regime, and then they arrested children. Children, I remember, like of age between 8, 10, 11. Some of them, they were tortured to death, and that's what was the spark for like big protests in Daraa. And it started there in Daraa and then quickly moved to the other cities, also to Aleppo, Halab, where I come from. I remember very well the first protest I have participated in Aleppo. We went to the prayers, and then when the prayers were finished, were done, someone could shout something like, for example, Allahu Akbar. And that was enough for the rest to know, well, this is the sign, and everyone will repeat that phrase. We were like shouting phrases, for example, that we want change, we want democracy, we want freedom. But it didn't even last more than 1 minute, because as I knew that there was a protest in that mosque, also the security and security branches and policemen, they also knew that this is going to happen, and they were waiting outside of the mosque, waiting for us to shout or whatever we do to break into the mosque and then arrest, hit, even kill everyone in the mosque, even the ones who didn't want to participate. They were just praying and want to leave. They were at risk. I knew before we were going to the protest that it was dangerous, but we went anyway, because this is a historical chance that might not come again. This is our maybe only chance in our life to be closer to a future that makes more people feel happy. But of course it was scary when you are there. Most of the times they were shooting bullets at us, even without like a warning or anything. We were just in a protest in the street, and then we were being shot at. I saw a lot of people arrested in front of me when we were escaping. It was lucky that I was not killed. I was even more lucky that I was not arrested. I have a friend who his little brother, was arrested. And for too many years, they hoped that he will come back. And then they were lucky to know where he was. And they were always asking about him. And they were telling them, he will get out after this. He might soon get out. And they lived years on that hope. And until 2017, they thought that he's alive. They were waiting for him to come out, and they were telling them that he will come out at some point. They figured out that he was sentenced to death and executed in 2014. 3 years of hope that they were waiting for their little child, and he was dead. He was not there, but he was dead for more than 3 years. This is why, for me and for a lot of people, being killed on the side is more peaceful than being held or taken as a prisoner by this brutal regime. In Syria, there is a law, all men above 18 years old has to go to and do the military service. So when you are finished with your studying, then you have a notice of kind of couple of months, and then you have to go to the military service afterwards. The reason why I didn't want to go to the military service, because first, I don't want to be a soldier. It meant that if I went to the military, I'll probably be sent to fight, to shoot civil people. And definitely that was not the side that I was standing with. So I got another big second reason why I don't want to go to the military service. But there is no escape from it in Syria. They are saying that I'm studying at this year and I can't be called to the military service. All the way until the last time when they were saying that I was studying in Lebanon and I am not being called to the military service until the 22nd of May 2014. That's where I had to go to the military service, and I never did. And I'm glad for it. The last thing in this bag, I think I will carry it until the last day of my life. This is the keys to my home in Aleppo. You can see it's old. This is not the official Syrian flag, but for me and for a lot of people, this is the Syrian flag. This flag represents me and represents everything that I fought for, freedom and democracy. I don't think that Syria is safe. A lot of people, even organizations, saying that Syria is not safe. We can't send Syrians back to Syria. This is very short description of that report. So no, Syria is not safe. When I came to Denmark, I knew that I wanted to have an education, I wanted to get a work, and I wanted to be an active member of this society. I started architecture engineering in Aleppo, Syria. I graduated in 2011, and afterwards I worked as an architect for a very short period in Syria. And since I got to Denmark, I have had some internships. I got a master's degree in architecture from Aalborg University in 2018. And I got this job, which I have been in for 15 months, almost, a little bit more. I would say that the biggest challenge that faced me when I was looking for jobs, it was the language. And despite the fact that Danish people, they are generally really good at speaking Danish, but when it comes to work, the professional language is of course Danish. And that would limit my options to find a job if I don't speak Danish. It's still not that easy to speak Danish at work because there are a lot of words, professional words that are missing. But what I feel that this company, my boss, my colleagues, they are really good at helping me through this process. They are aware of this challenge and they are helping me to improve the skills and to be even better at Danish. I feel very much appreciated at this job since the first day. All my colleagues, they are really nice people. Colleagues and my chef. My chef is also one of my colleagues. So they were always nice. They are really good at helping. They are very professional, and I learned a lot from them. So I'm really happy to be here.
Hussein is a very good employee. He fits in very good. Like, of course, he has another background. That's no problem. To work with Hussein is very easy. He's not giving any more difficulties than working with other persons. Of course, we have difficulties because Danish is not his mother tongue, so writing, of course, but we can handle that. That's no problem. And the positive thing about Hussein is that he knows his limits, so he's good at asking for help, because that if he didn't did that, that would be a problem. So we help each other. Hussein is a refugee. If you're asking if that's a problem, I think it's not a problem, because that's not the issue. We have to make a filter, and I think it should not be a Danish solution. It should be a worldwide or a European solution at least. So, and I think it will end. It will, in the coming years, it will have to be, because we can't open our gates for the whole world. Then we will be overfilled with. So we have to do something. Hussein has a Danish family now, so we can't send him back. We should help each other and make each other better. So in some areas, yes, there's too many. In some areas, no, we can have more. But I'm not the one who makes the law, and I'm glad. I can only make a cross and a vote.
When I look in my future and I think about what is the best scenario, how I would like things to be later in the future in 20 years, I first of all wish that my family and my children, my wife, my siblings, my parents, that they will all be in a good health, in a safe place, and that we can all visit each other. In my working perspective, I just wish that I will be in a place where I have such a nice colleagues as the one that I have now. One last very important thing is that I wish and I hope that even before, way before than 20 years, that we will see justice brought to the Syrian victims, and that we will see the Syrian people ruling and having their own country by their hands and deciding their future, and that they are just like all other nations in the world, living in peace and in prospect, and no dictators will ever rule that land again.